privileged and blessed to be part of this broadcast and to be in the presence of some great teachers, and all of us are ultimately students on the path of yoga. Ati Yoga, Ati means original or primordial yoga, and the path of Ati Yoga is something that really speaks to the heart of a seeker who wants to, who really looks for the essence of something. So with Ati Yoga, you go right to the essence of, what is the nature of the mind? What is the nature of this human experience? How do I live from this place of being aware of my own awareness? And we're going to be fortunate to have a recorded teaching of our teacher who is going to talk and introduce the path of Ati Yoga. And then after this, we have a very special guest. I don't know if we're going to announce
So
him yet.
right now we have a technical glitch right now where people can't hear you from the Zoom room. So I'm going to have to work to fix this for a minute here, my dear friends. So you can hear me now, right? Oh, Lauren, you could hear Zamir? Or is that me? You can hear me now.
Our voices sound so similar.
Okay, it looks like they can hear him now. Fantastic. So why don't you continue, Zam?
Well, I had spoken about Ati Yoga, and then we have a special guest coming on in 10 minutes. I think we're keeping him a surprise right now. Well, I guess he's on the schedule. It's JP Sears, who is one of the greatest commentators on spiritual bypassing and all kinds of fascinating insights into global situations, but with the wisdom of humor. And so I think we're going to start this day laughing at ourselves a little bit. I think that's super important, not to take ourselves too seriously. So we have JP Sears, and then we're going to have a talk on the 4 paths of yoga and a vision of yoga for our time. The 4 paths of yoga are really popularized by Swami Vivekananda, who was one of the first original voices of yoga to come out of India to the West. He spoke at the Parliament of World Religions. And, you can imagine at that time, an Indian man coming 150 trajectory of yoga. It's a practice that has been around for thousands of years and a culture that has been around for thousands of years. But when we experience and think of yoga in a modern Western context, it seems kind of like a new thing. People are like, wow, yoga, like it's new, And so how do we bridge this sort of newness of yoga in the world and the reality that it has thousands of years of lineage behind it? And where does this lineage serve us in the journey of fulfilling what yoga's goals and aspirations are? And when do those lineages kind of pull us back, and we can look at what does integrity in the yoga space look like? So that, I feel that'll be an interesting conversation that we'll have. And then Ram, I'll turn it back to you. I know you've introduced a few other people already, so I don't want to double up on it.
Yeah, thank you, Zamir. And so we're going to be, after the Wisdom Master Matikantan, we have Krishna Das, who we're so blessed to have at 2:30, who's going to be entering us into the stream of Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna Das, for those who don't know Krishna Das, he's a beautiful devotee. We're really grateful to have him on board. And after that, we have, who do we have at 3:00? We should post the schedule here.
Maybe we have Jeffrey Armstrong, who's a Vedic teacher and a great storyteller and researcher of Vedic culture. And part of the intent of bringing him on was to continue that dialogue of what does the Vedic culture have to teach us today. And I think that this question of culture is hugely important for us to explore and talk about, because there's an aspect of yoga that is individual transformation. There's another aspect of yoga which is cultural transformation. And there's so much research being done now in this field of epigenetics, which shows that the environment that surrounds the cell is what activates the expression of genes within the cell, right? And so we're in a time where we can think about what kind of culture supports the emergence of people's self or inner transformation. What does yoga have to teach us? What does the Vedic culture have to teach us of being an environment that supports people to live in harmony? and live in balance. Because it's one thing to have to go to a yoga studio for an hour a day, but the rest of your cultural environment is not supportive of living in a balanced or spiritualized way. So we have things to learn from other cultures that have been in that experiment for thousands of years. I think it'll be fascinating to explore that.
Beautiful. Thank you, Zamir. Ah, what a beautiful day we have, and how blessed we are to have this opportunity to hear from so many different people and masters and teachers. So after Jeffrey Armstrong at 3, at 4 p.m., we have CC White. And CC White, her thing is soul kirtan. So she's taken the most incredible aspects of gospel music. She sang with all the greats around the world. And we have an opportunity to bridge with her into a next level of devotional kirtan. And then after that, we have a offering from my band, Sacred. And then we have an hour and 15-minute segment coming from Chosen, who have produced something for World Yoga Day. And then we end with Ram Dass. So we're gonna play a interstitial video right now from Zamir's yoga deck called the Mystic Yogi. And so what you'll see,
Mystic Yogi is the name of our company, but the deck itself is called the Inner Path. It's a yoga philosophy practice deck. And so it was a year-long project taking the 8 limbs of yoga and other concepts of the yoga tradition and putting it in a beautiful artistic form so that people have an educational tool for them to enter into the practice of yoga and to do it through art. And it has a wisdom guidebook and Sanskrit language and pronunciation. So you can use it as an oracle, or you can use it as actually like a real yoga education tool. And then the practices in there can help you to integrate these yogic concepts. So that's what this is going to be from.
Yeah.
And if you're still listening,
we're going to do is we're going to play one of the interstitial cards. So Zamir got each one of these cards animated, which is beautiful. And so we're going to play one of them. And then when we come back, we are going to come back with our guru.
Well, I think he might be one of the most enlightened people on the planet at the time. I heard his Chapinder self-awakened one, right?
Yes. So when you come back, we're going to introduce you to the master who has helped informed our practice and ask him core questions. So we'll be back here.